I hope everyone can hear me. My name is Abby Hunt. I'm your host for today on Shawn Mayo's Mastermind. Clearly, I'm not a mastermind since I messed up my little recording bit there. Okay, so today we're going to talk about. Oh, well, first of all, can everyone hear me? There seems to be some little bit of glitching here. All right. Okay, now can you hear me? Okay, sorry about that. All right, I think we've got it now. I think Beverly is gonna. If I can see. Okay, can everyone hear me now? I think, can you hear me now? I believe I have everyone else muted. I'm not usually quite this bad with, all right, everyone else is muted now. Can you hear me? Nope, if I'm faint for everybody, it's not you, Greg.
Okay, this should be like 100 times better. It helps if I have like all my cables plugged in correctly. All right, is everyone back on? I almost want to stop recording. Okay, yeah, totally my fault. I seriously do know how to list on Amazon, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So hopefully Shawn will delete everything before that. All right, Greg, I'm going to hide you.
I can hear you good now. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Yeah, that was totally my fault. All right, let me. Seriously, poor Shawn. He's going to be like, what on earth did you do to my webinar? Okay, my name is Abby Hunt. I am your guest host tonight for Shawn Mayo's Masterminds. We will be discussing how to list a product on Amazon now that I have all my technical difficulties cleared up, hopefully. And I'm just going to get right into it. So let me get a little bit set up here. Does anyone have any very specific questions? Has anyone listed on Amazon before? So the first thing you want to do is go to your Amazon seller account. I'm just going to load mine real quick. Unfortunately, because I was having some technical issues, I'm not where I want to be. Okay. All right, so let's get over here. Now, the very first thing you're going to do is go into your Seller Central, inventory, and then add a product. The first thing you need, obviously, is a product, and you need a good picture of that product. But you want to double check that your product is not currently for sale on Amazon because you do not want to duplicate a listing that is already there. And that's huge because Amazon does not want people creating multiple listings for the same item. So what I have is it's like a tree candle holder, incense holder. So I've looked up the UPC and that did not come up. So I just want to make sure that the exact one that I have doesn't come up in Amazon's listings anywhere. because I don't want to duplicate that listing. But what I do want to do is, like, this is a similar one right here, this green man candle. And what I want to do is, if this one is selling all right, I want to see what types of things they listed so that mine has similar attributes. So if this one's selling well, which is not doing great, but here you can see they don't have very good bullet points. Usually you want to see, you know, what's the size? What is it made out of? Like, they're made out of resin. The one that I have has a glass top to it. So you want to look at actually a good listing and then copy those types of attributes. You don't want to take a bad listing and say, oh, well, I'll list like this and see if I can, you know, make it better. You want to find a good listing and go from there. Now this one is sold in candlestick holders, so it's good to know. You want to see what category they do sell in. So this one's home and kitchen, home decor, candles and holders, candlestick holders. But it is not the exact same one I have. And if I look down, I've checked earlier, there's not one that's exactly the one I have. But we're going to look at this forest spirit one, see if that's any better than the description we just looked at. And this is so much better. This beautiful candle holder is made of polyresin, hand painted and polished individually. Measures 5 inches tall, 4 inches long, and 3 inches deep approximately. Tea light candle not included. Collect the whole set of See Here Speak No Evil candle holders sold in our store separately. Now, obviously, I am not going to say that I'm going to sell mine in their store, but I do like some of the other information they have. Now, the tea light is included with the one I have. So I'm going to take the information that I think is helpful and save that in just a notepad so that when I have to create bullet points, I can start with what they have because this was a successful listing. Now, when you take your picture, you want to make sure you take it from a bunch of different angles, and Amazon is very specific about the type of photos they want. They want the background to be completely white. Not where I want to be. There we go. They want the background to be completely white, so the photo that I have is already doctored so that it's in the right place. Let's try to get back to you guys in case you need anything. All right, as I jump around ridiculously. Okay, let's get back into that listing. Okay, so we're going to go to our inventory, add a product, and that's going to bring us here. I put in the Wise Tree candle holder. It didn't come up, so I'm going to create a new product listing. Now, there is another way to do this, and if we have time at the end, I'll show you where you actually add, like this one. I could add this into my inventory and then do like a, you know, list a similar item, and I'll show you that at the very end. But just we'll go fresh with this, and we're going to say create a new product listing. Now I'm going to jump out for a second to actually show you what we're selling here. I have this little weird little votive holder, and you can put incense in the top, the little candle, the little, you know, wax sujibajis. And this one actually comes with a tea light with it. So the tea light goes in the bottom and has a little glass top, and it actually comes boxed. So I will make sure that I say that in my listing. Okay, so I'm going to put in tree, tea light holder, or candle, and then find category. Okay, so we saw earlier that candlestick holders, candle holder sets, since it's just the one tea light holder, we'll put it in tea light holder because it does hold the tea light in the bottom. And we definitely want to put it in holder and not where the candles are. Now, the product name, the keywords that you put in the product name are important because it's the first thing that Amazon's going to look for in the search. And then later you can put additional keywords that are not necessarily, don't necessarily have to go in the title, but you also don't need to duplicate the ones that are already in the title. So this one was called the Wise Man, tree. And I'll say tea light candle holder with glass top. For instance. And then we could say that it's 5 inches. 5-inch. The manufacturer is Fantasy Gifts. That's also the brand name. And the UPC is sorry. So sorry. The UPC is right here. Okay. Now, if you do not have a UPC on the item, like this one actually did not have it, you can purchase UPCs. The best place that I found to purchase them is from Leading Edge Codes on eBay. They are GS1 certified. The only time you'd have a problem is if this were like Hasbro. If this were like a major brand, it would say that the UPC does not match. So in that case, you need to find the correct UPC for the item. And again, double check that it's not already listed on Amazon. So in this case, this is a UPC that I purchased, so I own it. It's registered as a GS1 certified UPC, and we'll just go from there. Now, as you can see on this page, there's only a couple things here to fill out, but there's a little tab over here for advanced view. If you click that, you can put in additional information. There's only one in this package. There is a model number on here. Manufacturer part number would be the same. Size, I'm going to say that it's 5 inches. Now you'll notice I didn't use the quotes for inch in the title. Sometimes when you put any sort of symbols in the title, it kind of messes up the search for like a Google search or something. So I try to avoid doing that. Although if you do the 5 and then the quotes directly after it, it usually doesn't mess anything up. The color it's multicolor, but it's mostly brown. And that's about it for this page. The more information you can put in, the less likely it is for Amazon to kick the listing out saying, hey, you forgot something, you didn't do something. Variations is something that you could do. If I had like 6 different types of this tea light, I could go in there and do the wise man and the old tree and the tree with the book, or that, that type of thing. You can include variations by size, by color. It's really more towards like the clothing type of thing, where you're going to have like blue pants, red pants, black pants in different sizes and different colors. So we're going to skip variations for now. And then the offer is what you're going to list it for. You don't need to put a condition note in unless like they give an example of a dust cover is missing. I tried not to put anything in there. I used to say in brand new condition, but every once in a while it kind of glitches Amazon's system. If you say no damage, the system sees damage in the condition note and then says, well, you can't list that as new. So there's no reason to put anything in there. If you were previously an eBay seller, that's where you would want to put a condition. So try to like get out of that idea and just go down to what you have to fill in. And anything with the red asterisk has to be filled in. So this is new, and my price is going to be $35. I can always make it lower, but just for listing it, I'm going to start at $35 and tell it that I want Amazon to ship it and sell it. You don't need to say when the selling date is. It will default to today. Now, when you get to the bottom, do not click Save and Finish. It will try to completely end the listing, which is not what you want to do. You want to go to the top and just go to the next tab. As you see, the vital info is where we added the UPC, the title, and some of the main information. The offer is what you're offering the item for. So in this case, I made it $35. Images is where we're going to put in the photos that I've taken. So I'm going to choose a file. And there's a delay because of the webinar. Boy, I hope I don't have anything that you can't see on here. Let's see. I'm just joking. It would just be pictures of my dogs. It would be the worst thing that you'd find on here. Oh, where's my tree? You ever have one of those days? All right, let's cheat real quick. Now that one actually said that it was an oil infuser, which is certainly possible. All right, in the interest of time, I'm just going to grab another photo, which is not my item, but let's just do this for now. Okay, so we're going to go back to the Add a Product, click Choose File, and you're going to choose the photo that actually matches your item. And that is, Amazon says over here that the product must fill at least 85% of the image and only show what's for sale. They don't want little decorative pieces on the first picture. And you'll see this photo that I grabbed has gray in the background. That has to be completely white, a pure white background. You can use removethebackground.com or PhotoFuse or whatever program you have that will make that background completely white. So Amazon would kick this listing out because of that. Now you also want, but like I said, in the interest of time, they have to be at least 1,000 your picture has to be at least 1,000 pixels on one side. So if you're going to shrink it only so that one of the sides is 1,000. You would like it, I'm sorry, at least 500 pixels on the shortest side. You would like it to be square. So if you could do 1,000 by 1,000, that would be great. You don't want to go too big because then it won't work. If you have it at least 1,000, it'll be able to blow up for you. Now, ideally, you want a couple images. You want to have one of the front, like this one I said has a tea light in the back, so I would have a picture of the back as well. Maybe a picture head down so you could see the glass on the top. And then you could have a lifestyle photo, which would be it lit with a little bit of incense or whatever or oil in the top with a little setting in the background. But that very first picture should be bright white, clear background, very obvious image of what you're selling. Now, next thing is description. For whatever reason, depending on what category you're listing in, sometimes the key product features shows up top, sometimes the description's on top. In this case, it's flipped the other way where the description is on top. The key product features are the bullet points that you normally see. So when we look at a listing on Amazon, these are the key product features. These different bullets right here are the key product features. So when you're listing, you want to remember that, and you can click add more, and this will add each of your bullet points. Now, before I saved this information so that I don't have to type it again, I throw it in here. Just this beautiful candle holder is made of poly resin, hand painted. I'm just going to stick with hand painted. Mine is 5 by 5 by 5. And I'm going to say that the tea light candle is included. And I'm also going to say that it is a boxed, that it's boxed and ready to be like a gift. Whoops. And then the last bullet will be, this item is boxed, and ready for gift giving. Because you want to give them like a little bit of ownership without, you know, without being like, buy this item right now. Some people will say, you know, available in 6 different styles, you know, take a look at my other, you know, take a look at all the styles available. And that is fine if they are readily available, if there's going to be so many. But let's say I have this one now and there may be other ones available. You don't want people looking and then buying someone else's products. And remember that this listing that you're making is not just your listing. If someone else eventually had this product, they could list against this. So you just want the things to be a little bit generic. Now in the product description, often I will start with the title. So that this information is still in there. For incense or your favorite oils. This copy, this is something that you could work on your own, especially when we get to the keywords, but I really want you to see the different steps. They're just not that, they're not difficult, but unless you go through them, it's like, well, which parts of this do I have to fill out? Earlier, I showed you that you had to click advanced view to see all of these, you know, the different things that you need to fill in. Depending on what the product is and what category it's in, there may be other things in here. I'm going to put in the color map because it might yell at me later. These different, you know, GTIN exemption, these types of things, unless it specifically asks you for them, there's no reason for you to to have to fill out every single piece. If Amazon wants a bit of information, at the end, it'll put a little red box around it saying, hey, you forgot to fill this in. You definitely need something in the product description, and you definitely need to have bullet points. And if you look at items that are already selling well, you can definitely look at these and copy what they've done, you know, kind of, you don't have to say their exact words, but you definitely, you know, this one says the material, it says the size, it says what's included and what's not, it tells you that it's part of a collection. So those are things that you want to use in your descriptions and your bullet points so that people will know, you know, what they're getting. You want to write the description as if there isn't a picture, and the pictures should really, like this one, you'll see they do a really good job where they take pictures of the back. You want the picture so that the person doesn't even have to read it. They'll be like, oh yes, that's exactly what I want. They might look at the listing just to see what size it is. So we'll go back to our listing and then keywords. Now, there's 2 different things that you want to fill in on here. The target audience for this, for example, is adults because it's not a toy. And sometimes I will put that as my last bullet point, not intended for children. Sometimes if you have something that's like decorative, that's like a Santa or something, it's not really a toy, but it kind of looks like it. So I would put not intended for children, for decorative use only. If there's any warnings like that on the package, definitely add that into your bullet points. Now, search terms. These do not show to the Amazon buyer, but they're very important for Amazon to find the item. So this is a time when I would use merchant words. I would put in tea light holder, tree of life, just those things, and then merchant words or other products like that will tell you what other words people are searching for. I often will put gifts for dad, gifts for dad, or Dodd, whatever, gifts for dad, tree of life. You don't need to put commas in here. Christmas and holiday gifts. Something that people would search when they're looking for something. Earth Day. Now, one of them, it had Wiccan and, that type of thing. So this might be something that someone who, likes, real mythical type things would have on their, in their office or in their dorm room, college party, just really look up ahead of time. Don't do what I did. Look up ahead of time what things will people be looking for this item. I did incense, essential oils maybe, and oil diffuser. And like I said, if there's words that are already in the title, you don't need to repeat them here. So I don't actually need to put in candle holder. I might put it separate though, because I think it was one word there. Did I spell diffuser wrong? No. Okay, so here, target audience and search terms are the most important things to put in the keywords tab. Finally, more details. Now, there are two different places that you want to put the dimensions here, because now the shipping weight for this, I happen to know, is 15 ounces because I did measure it. Now that is the weight with the box. So if you're going to put any additional packaging with your item, you need to say what the actual shipping weight is. So like this weighs 11 ounces or 12 ounces on its own, but with the packing material, it weighs 15 ounces. You generally don't want to put a hazardous material type. If this actually contained an oil, I would probably have to, but try to stay away from making it a hazmat item. Now the item dimensions, the length is generally the longest dimension. And this is the item itself. This is not the package that it's in. So this is 5 by 4 by 4. Make sure you tell it inches or it will ask you. And definitely don't make the mistake of putting feet, because you will definitely get oversized charges and wonder why when the thing's only 5 by 5. The weight, like I said, is 12 ounces without the packaging. And again, this part right here is the item itself, the item dimensions. Don't worry about the display things. Now the package dimensions, this is the box itself. So the box that I have is 6 by 6 by 5.5 inches, and the shipping weight is 15 ounces. And this is important because this is what Amazon bases its shipping costs on. And then go a little lower. And I do like to put the material type if it asks. There's fabric type if you happen to be selling like some sort of fabric, whether it's a toy or clothing. And then material type, there is a poly resin, which is what this is. And that's it. So material type and the two different places to put the measurements are very important. If you do not put either the package dimensions or the item dimensions, when you go to list it, you'll get a warning, and then it just takes additional time when you're actually trying to list the item. Now, I have now gone through all the tabs. We've done the vital information, we skipped variations, the offer, images, description, keywords, and more details. Now you can go to the bottom and click save and continue. Save and finish. And if there's anything that it has a problem with, it'll give you a little caution sign at the top, and it will highlight it in red. Okay, so Wise Man Tree Tea Light Holder, save and continue. And it was confirming that the UPC is already on the item. And you're ready to go. Add it to an existing shipping plan. And you can tell it how many you have. And that's it. Now, when I go to my inventory, sometimes it takes up to 15 minutes for it to populate in your managed inventory, but like this one came up right away. The photo definitely takes longer. The photo will always take longer to populate. So it'll say no image available, but if you actually clicked on it, it will, well, it might not. This is very fast. I'm gonna have to change the photo later, and that's easy to do. To just go in and change a photo or make, small changes is not a big deal. Changing the title is usually an issue. It won't do it very easily for you. Now, if I click on the listing itself, the photo hasn't populated yet. It says it's currently unavailable because I just made it. I just created the listing and I didn't say that I had any merchant fulfilled. And you can see that it put all of these bullets up here, all of the lines that I put in there. Beautiful candle holder, double check your spelling so you don't say anything you didn't mean to say. This item is boxed and ready for gift giving. And then when you scroll down to the description, this is where people you can write a book here. You could write all kinds of information about how wonderful it is and what set it comes in and that it's, part of this thing, and here's the myth around the wise man, or, whatever it is that you want to put, like that's your last chance to really give people a lot of information about it. Now the dimensions are all here in the product information. Amazon assigned an ASIN, the model number is here, the measurements are here, and you're set. So now you could go to your inventory and list against this. All right, so I know I kind of zipped through it a little bit quickly. Does anybody have any questions on the steps themselves? Am I still broadcasting? Now for the photos, what I do, I actually take them right with my phone. I take them with my phone and then I go into Photo Fuse, which is free and is actually, Photo Fuse. And it's really, how about if I send it to everybody? Photo Fuse is the website. You don't even need an account. It's a totally free thing. It's really meant for Etsy. I think that's how they started. And what you do is you take the picture on a white background. You take a picture of the item on a white background. And then you go into Photo Fuse, you highlight just like if I was doing my face, you would just do that. And it completely whites out the entire back of it. I don't use the photo option in the seller app. I didn't know there was an option in the seller app because I usually bring things home to take photos of them. But I do use my phone. I just have I have an Android phone, Samsung. If you have an iPhone, it probably will clear the background out for you because I know the girl who works for me does less steps than I do. But I like Photo Fuse because it makes it a completely white background, and it's not real glitchy. It just kind of does its thing. You do want to watch the dimensions though. I personally don't use that app. I don't use, I just take a picture of the phone take a picture of the item. I have Dropbox so that the photos go immediately to my computer and then I just edit them all real quick. I have found that the better lighting needs less. So if my photo box is set up completely right with the LED lights, then there's less of that like extra step of editing the photos. See if I can bring up a photo real quick. That's correct. Kind of a before and after. Huh. Now, there is a problem when you're editing photos in like PhotoFuse. If there's white in the item, it will kind of bleed into the background. PhotoFuse isn't, 100% good with that. Oh, here we go. All right, let me just give you an idea of what PhotoFuse does. So I mean, I could show you PhotoFuse, but I think my computer will lag too much. All right, so and Amazon will not bring up my item. Let's try one other thing. So were the steps themselves, pretty, now that you've seen it happen, do you see how they're not particularly difficult, but it's easier for sure once you see someone else go through the steps, knowing that you don't have to fill in every single one of those, every single like bullet point that they've got when you're creating the listing? Good, good, good. It's so funny, the original, just at the very beginning with the crazy technical issues kind of threw me off my stride. All right, so this will give you a little bit of an idea of how they change. So I have these bracelets listed. So this is what the bracelet looks like on Amazon, but this is what the original, I have the wrong color one, but this is what originally looked like, is you could see the gray in the background, you could see a little bit off the, the edge of the table, a lot of shadows, but when I went into PhotoFuse, it took everything out of the background. So which one is this? This is Aries. So the Aries one, not the purple one, but you could see very little shadow. It's white in the background. And PhotoFuse does this for you and still keeps some of the shadow so it looks natural. It doesn't look like a weird type of thing. But you don't see the edge of the table in the background. You don't see how dark it is in the back. And what you do is you highlight just the item itself and it just whites out the rest of the background. You can see it gets a little bit fuzzy towards the back, but it certainly is acceptable for Amazon. And I find PhotoFuse to be the easiest for me to work with. Now, remove the background. I think it's removethebackground.com. Or even, if you use like Fiverr or something, they will, fix the photos for you. If that's your sticking point, don't waste time doing that. Like pay $1 for someone to fix your photo if you have, a dozen of the item to list. Now, having said that, let's say that I had like 6 of these different styles of this particular item. What you can do is you list your first one, and even you can see that with the bracelets. I did it this way. Whoops, let's go rid of some of this. When you're in your Seller Central, you've created that new listing, and then you can do a similar one very quickly. what you do is you go all the way, you go into Seller Central, manage inventory, and then go all the way to the right where you would edit something, and instead click the down arrow, and one of your choices is to copy the listing, if my computer catches up to us. So what's really nice is if you have, let's say you have a bunch of toys to list, you have a bunch of, like I had the bracelets to list, you're going to go into your manage inventory after you've created that first one. Once you've created that first one, you can then, so here's the tea light candle holder. Let's say I have one that's a wizard, so it's similar. I can go in and just say copy listing all the way to the right here. Copy listing eventually. There we go. The third one down is copy listing. Now manage images, if I wanted to add images later, I could do that. I could just go into edit and make any changes I need to if I realize the dimensions came up as feet instead of inches. But if I click copy listing, the nice thing is if it's a similar item, so it's another tea light holder, it's going to have a lot of the same attributes. I can go in here and let's say that it's a wizard tree, just for example. It's a wizard tree. I'm going to put in a UPC. It's going to yell at me because it's not going to like this number. The offer stays the same. The images clear out so that you can just put in the new one. So I'd put in the wizard one. And then the description, everything fills in from what I just did. So I don't have to type all of this again. I would just change this part to wizard. I might change the dimensions, but it's still made of poly resin. It's still hand painted. The tea light's still included. It's still, boxed and gifted, boxed and ready to gift. And then the keywords I would add wizard, magical, whatever fits for that particular item. And you can add quite a bit. I forget exactly how many you have, but you have a lot of keywords that you can put in here. So the more research you do by what people are, like what do you think people would buy when they're looking for this particular item? And then in more details, you're going to change the weight. Like I said, go to advanced view. You're going to change the weight. Maybe the wizard is a pound, just over a pound. You're going to change the dimensions and then click save and finish. It's not going to let me because the UPC was bad. I would then click save and finish. And then when I went back to manage inventory, the wise man would show up and then the wizard would show up. So it works out so well when you have similar items that you want to list. Like here I had a bunch of these crazy penguins. So I listed one, I listed the next one, I listed the next one, and I was able to save the information and use it for the next product. So if you have, let's say you have to make listings for Christmas ornaments, and then you've got candle holders, and then you've got, I've got all this ocean themed stuff. List them list them all at the same time. So I would do all of the ocean themed stuff together so that my keywords would be ocean, beach, sand, sand dollar, starfish, whatever is appropriate. And then it would be the same ones for each one. You don't have to kind of redo the entire thing if you're listing a similar item. So you're going to have a tea holder, the tea light holder. The next one will be similar. Just change what you need to and then change the photos, obviously, and assign the UPCs for the correct items. So you'll see that it's so much faster. Once you do the one, it may have taken you 10 minutes to get that first one done, or half an hour, whatever. But the next ones are very fast because you already have so much of the information already in. You're just changing the title, the photo, and any dimensions, and anything that's very specific to that item. So it's a great trick, and whether you're selling on any platform, it's similar where it's going to say, okay, sell similar, and then you're going to list the next thing that's just like it. Don't list a candle holder and then a pair of jeans and then a picture frame and then ocean themed stuff and then you go back to another picture frame. List them so that it makes sense. Is that a good tip? Anyone like that? Am I talking too fast? Do you have any other questions? Leading edge codes is where I get my UPCs from. leading edge codes on eBay. What else? They're GS1 certified. The keywords, I use Merchant Words. They have a free, I think you could search like 7 or 10 a day for free. They'll let you search a certain amount. So you would type in candle holder, and then it will say how many people have looked for that particular item. And it's a really neat service. Usually you can get deals. Shawn probably has a link to it where you can get it for like $7 a month for like the rest of your life, which is a great deal. You can also Google, like if you just typed in tree, like this crazy tree candle holder in Google, it'll kind of fill in the rest of it. It'll say, you know, Wiccan or oil incense, or, you know, and you'll find keywords in there. And if you look at other listings, even the listings that I showed in their bullet points, sometimes they had better, you know, additional words that people would search. But I find Merchant Words to be the most useful because it's really like a more like how much traffic do those different keywords get. So we've got 6 more minutes. Does anyone else have questions? Do you want me to clarify anything I did? Do you want me to jump into Merchant Words real quick? As long as you don't mind me sharing the screen and waiting for my computer to catch up. Alrighty. All right, so some of the problem is I have so much opened. Okay, so Merchant Words is here. And this is, I was actually on another webinar and someone mentioned Merchant Words and I said, well, I don't understand what that, you know, I don't know what it is. And once I discovered it, I was so happy because it really just gives you so much information. So if I put in tree candle holder, which evidently I've done this before, and you click search, it's really cool because it's really looking in the Amazon search. So tree stump, I should have added stump to my thing and I still can. 8,000 people have checked this month. Tree candle holder, tree branch candle holder was more like, well, still home and kitchen. Palm tree, candle tree, willow tree, and then less than 100 are all these. So let's see if it's any different if I put candle holder as one word. Nope, less. So less people have searched it that way. Let's see if I do tree oil diffuser, which I guess it's not really a diffuser. Let's see what comes up. Less tea tree oil, but let's just see oil diffuser itself. Essential oils, but 180,000 people have looked, but they're also looking in like health and personal care. So that's clearly not what we want. So if we do tea light holder, tea light candle end holder, tea lights holder, Eiffel Tower one. Again, let's try combining the words and see if it comes up with more. You know, it's how are people searching? So definitely as one word, 21,000 people looking for it. It's still not huge. I mean, if you looked up like fidgets, you know, which are super hot right now. Whoops. Yes, I feel like an idiot sometime. Thank you very much. But 4,000 people looking for idiots. But if you looked up fidgets, there's going to be probably 100,000. Huh, I thought for sure there would be much more. Nope, not so much. But that right there, that tells you that fidgets are not the thing you want to be looking for right now, unless I spelled it wrong. But back to the tea light holders. You'll see that by combining it as one word, many, many more people searched it. So I could see tea light holder, tea light candle holder. Mine is not a lotus. But glass is searched. Holders is searched 14,000. And then wall, angel. Here's the tree tea light holder. So there's 2,000 people looking. That's not bad because I certainly have one. So, and then you could look up like tree of life and wise old tree of life, and see, you know, how many people are searching. But like you could see here, lotus was one. Tree of life, looking at movies and jewelry. Mine doesn't really fall into any of these categories, but maybe I'd look up Kabbalah. But after I look it up, I'd see that it's the wrong type of tree, so I wouldn't use that. But it gives you other things to look at. So you see 42,000 people looking for a tapestry with the tree of life. Maybe that's something that you would source later on. So there's so much information that you can get by using merchant words, but I definitely like that it tells you how many people are searching. Like you saw it once I combined tea light into one word, it was searched. Many more people searched for tea light as one word. So that's the best way to look for keywords for your listings. And you saw you could put, you know, so many different words into that keyword, those keyword sections, because you could add lines to it. I like to put gift, I like to put holidays, gifts for mom, gifts for dad, because that's how people are searching. They're searching gifts for dad on Google, and it will eventually find it. I try not to duplicate them because I don't need to. If it's in the title, I don't need to use the space in the keyword section. So if it's like a holiday item, I might have angels and Christmas and then Xmas and then, you know, stocking stuffer. And I want to put as much in there that someone would actually be looking for that item. It doesn't do me any good if I put in Frozen, Anna, and Elsa for something that's not that, because the person's going to click on it, it's not what they want, and it actually hurts my search results. So you don't want to keyword spam. You don't want to say iPhone and all this crazy stuff. You want it to really drive people to that. So if it's, you know, if it is an ocean themed item, you want to put beach, ocean, lake, maybe lake house, cottage, by the shore, you know, that type of thing. You want to put things that people would be searching for that item. So it's 9 o'clock. If there are any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But I guess I did such a good job explaining now. It's really, you know, it's very repetitive. Once you do it a couple times, you know, you'll wonder why you didn't create listings before that. The only thing I do want to say is if you create a bundle, it's still the same. It's one item. Whether you put 10 things together or 4 things together, it's one item. So list it that way. You want to put the word bundle in your title, but otherwise everything else works exactly the same. You weigh the items, you weigh them as a package so that Amazon knows how much it is to ship it, but otherwise it works the same way as listing an individual item. All right, so I think that's it. Thank you for letting me be your guest host today. Sorry about the original technical difficulties. I appreciate Shawn for letting me come in. Again, my name is Abby Hunt, and it was my pleasure. Thank you very much.